It's a little too soon if I'm honest. You've broken all the things that we promised. Did you forget those things you said? Still was one of 2 songs on my EP that I co-wrote with my friend Demi. She's an amazing songwriter. I remember the night that we wrote Still, we were actually working on a different idea and we got a bit stuck, and I asked her if she had any ideas lying around, and she picked up a guitar and started playing the first few chords of Still. And she had the first few lyrics of the verse kind of in mind, and I really liked the way that the story was going, so we kept working on it and finished it off that night, and it became this story of unrequited feelings in a really relatable way, I feel. That longing feeling of wondering if someone that you really care about still thinks about you, even though they might not actively be in your life anymore, because you can't seem to stop thinking about them. We can take the front seat, I don't mind it. I'll be in the back while you're driving, thinking about the things we could have said. It's a little too soon if I'm honest. You've broken all the things that we promised. Did you forget those things you said? So I've got the session here. Ironically, this song probably took me the longest to make out of all my songs, but probably has the simplest production. As you can see up the top here, it says Still version 6. So this was the 6th time that I started this song from scratch. The first thing that we hear is this guitar loop. I knew that I wanted the guitar to sound more than just an acoustic guitar. Pretty heavily processed it. I put a lot of EQ on, an electric guitar amp, some reverb, and a couple of other things, which then gave it this different quality. It sounds like this. And that pretty much loops throughout the whole song. There are a couple of variations in the way that I played it, but that's essentially the main guitar sound which runs throughout the whole song. There are a couple of other guitar elements. So we've got this super reverbed electric part. One of my favorite bits in the song is this electric guitar at the very end, which sounds like this. It's just super pretty. So that's about it for guitar. Looking at the bass, I've just layered two different basses. There's a real sounding bass mixed in with a sub bass. And then underneath the bass, I've got this piano going, as well as this kick drum, which just adds a bit more punch. The only other elements that I have in this song are just some synth parts. Under a bit of the guitar, I've got this like ambient pad, which just gives a bit more texture. There are some strings in here towards the end as well, mixed in with an electric keyboard underneath. Don't ask me why this is called heavy metal guitar, I have no idea. Then there are some pads underneath that as well. So essentially every element is just building up on those same 3 chords that play throughout the whole song. For the vocals, pretty simple. Just one dry signal. These days I tend to double my vocals or add like certain exciting elements, but at this point I didn't really have much of an understanding of production, so it's super simple. The most complicated we get is some reverb automation on the chorus, which sounds pretty cool. It just adds a bit of color to the vocals. I increased the reverb on the last word of each line, so it just kind of rings out a little bit, and it sounds like this. Do you think about me still? Do you think about me still? When he's lying next to you, the way I used to do you think about me still? So that's a great simple trick just to add a bit of variation and color in your mixes. A lot of the time you'll just chuck reverb on a track and just leave it at the same settings throughout the whole song, but adding automation and kind of variating it can make things a little bit more interesting to listen to. And then in the final chorus, when everything builds up to its peak, I added like some vocal stacks, just give a little bit more enhancement to the chord. So this is my voice, but pretty heavily processed and duplicated many times to create this big stacked choir thing. Underneath those choir vocals, we've got this vocoder thing going on, which just adds a bit of an electronic texture, which sounds kind of cool in the mix. Do you think about me still? So everything together at this point then sounds like this. Do you think about me still? So that was Still. I hope you enjoyed this little insight and breakdown into how I made it. If you'd like to see more of these kind of videos, let me know. I might make a little series out of it. And thank you so much for all the support on Still. It's been amazing. Much love, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.